ladies, because I need you all smiling. Please.
Enjoy. We have about 20 minutes of serving and then come back to your table immediately so that we can officially start this event. For now, please enjoy yourselves. Get to mingle, know the person who is sat next to you. It's going to be an amazing, amazing event.
Don't wait for, I don't think it can
Once again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for making time to join us here today. And you know, Mr. Vincent has already prayed for us, so we're going to be as honest as possible. Some of you are a little bit delayed because you got lost. How many of us got lost today coming here? I can see. I hope you also helped Google Maps to now find out this place so that whoever else is coming, they don't get lost the way most of us did get lost. But with that said, thank you so much for making time to join us here today as we shall be having our groundbreaking moment. This facility is going to be launched right here today. And this is the NLS, as you can see, waste power plant. It's going to be launched here today. We've already had our teams, I believe, as a majority of us have actually come back to our tables. For those of you who are joining us, not so much that you have missed. However, we're going to be having a whole panel discussion. We're going to make it short and sweet. We have about 3 panel discussions. We have an amazing lunch buffet. So I really hope you're not already filled up, because we still have some more food coming your way. So those of you who might find dinner at home, maybe just warn them you will not be eating dinner at home tonight, because we have a whole buffet set up for you a little bit later for lunch. A little bit later after lunch, we'll get into another small discussion of about 20 minutes and then finally get into our cocktail ceremony. So yes, my day is full and ready for all of you. If you came in high heels, like me, I hope you have sneakers, because when it comes to the cocktail session, it's going to be a lot of mingling and talking and walking around this small venue of ours here today. With that said, I'd like to invite another co-MC of mine, the one now who speaks the technical language when it comes to NLS. For me, I do the general. When English fails, you'll understand it. When English fails, I'm the one who's going to be speaking. But the real English, the technical part of it, is going to be handled by my co-MC, Mr. Joseph. Please, a round of applause for this gentleman who is so suited up. It's the first time I've seen him this suited up. Yet we worked together so many times. I'm beginning to wonder, I don't know how you can look this good, sir. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause for my co-MC, Mr. Joseph.
Okay. Deacon, what do you mean?
I'm impressed. You look stunning.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to Miss Didan. She made sure that her outfit and the decor were just in match. I mean, I don't want to say it was coincidental. A round of applause to Miss Didan.
Thank you so much.
Bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I can't hear you. I know you're eating. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit much better. I know as we go on, we shall have the energy come up. Miss Didan.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to stay with me or you want to grab your breakfast.
I can stay with you, but I do believe you're going to start the panel. And my job is to listen, take notes, then come back after that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Didan. And before I invite the panel, we have a powerful video. Some of you may be wondering who is this gentleman speaking to us. My name is Joseph Rautomise. And many of my friends back home call me Sir Joseph. I'm called Sir because I am a Salongo, and the short form of Salongo is Sir. So, Sir Joseph, any Salongo in the house? For those of you who don't know who a Salongo is, he's a father to twins. Any Salongos in the house? I just want to honor it. Oh, right there. A round of applause to some Salongos we have in here. Yes, I see. Any Nalongo? Any Nalongo in the house? Oh, the back right there. We have another lady here. Yeah, we are still looking for the short form of Nalongo because Na doesn't make sense. Yeah, my wife is sometimes called Nalo. I said no, Nalo doesn't make sense. It is not a beautiful one. At least Sir, you know you can confuse Sir. Now my Sir is not the one of Sir Alex Ferguson. My Sir is just double S-A. But you have to confuse the public. You move along with that. So I'm here. I'm going to be a co-MC with Ms. Didan, and I'm very interested with the project that we are currently launching, NLS West Power Plant, because my background is
contamination that comes with landfills and the difficulty in management of landfills that we've already seen. Give it the example of Chitezi. So we believe that this policy will address most of the issues. I hope that they come to the industry to also consult so that the industry players can have an input into this policy. But the information we have so far is that this policy is looking at more of a circular economy, more of how can we reduce impacts on waste management, how can we empower private partners that are into waste management or waste treatment, or even who are into waste to energy projects. So we hope that the policy will support such projects and ensure that waste comes to the facility, because as you know, the main challenge is the stock. Will you have the waste at all time is the question. And with government support, and that's why the PPP partnership is very important, so that there is sufficient stock to run the plant. Thank you.
Okay, wow, interesting. Looking at it from the layman's point of view, is you're saying the policy was not, it's there.
It's in draft, yes. From the experience that they got from Chitezi, they realized there's a problem and they needed to now revise the policy to allow for more advanced technologies to manage. Is that it clearly empowers such partners like NLS who want to solve the environmental problem of the country.
Okay, beautiful. Maybe if I'm follow up, if I come to Sir Daudi, what would be the impact if that waste doesn't come? Okay, if that policy wasn't there. If it is not there, what would be the impact to this plant here? Because like Uzambo mentioned, we have a machine coming up, a technology that is going to burn more than 5,000 tons of waste, and which you are talking about as Hanifa, and will give us around 45 megawatts of power, correct? So what is the impact if that policy is not there? If it is delayed, what will be the impact to the power plant? Or you could answer it, or Sadie come through.
Maybe I can do a follow-up on what Hanifa has been saying and the impact of this policy. To let you know further, to add on what Hanifa said, like you all very well know that the African setting, Uganda in particular, our waste is mainly wet waste, with the bulk of it having about 40 to 60% moisture. Now, if this policy does not come in on time, there are a number of things that will come up backstage. First of all, the way the waste is collected. For instance, taking Kampala. Kampala has bylaws that has only allowed a few private individuals to collect the waste. And yet government is putting in also money to subsidize this waste collection. Like maybe about 4 billion shillings annually goes into this. But yet, these private collectors also get money from the people they are collecting the waste from. Like there are areas that pay 70, 30, 40, 25. Now, when the policy comes in, it will streamline all these issues, such that probably some of these bylaws, like the one of KCCA, is looked at and critically take shape. Like for instance, if government can use the 4 billion shillings that it is spending on collecting the waste itself, and yet there are also private collectors that are even paid, and yet they are paid by government, and then they are also getting money from the generators of the waste. So if the policy is generator pays, then that means the one generating should be solely responsible for the waste, and they pay to the person who is going to take the waste, and then probably government could bring this money to people like NLS, to developers, that they can utilize these funds to develop such a facility to look at the waste that is being collected. Of course, also not to leave behind is standardizing, within municipalities, because it's not only around Kampala. This is a nationwide challenge. So there is need to standardize how this waste is collected within all the municipalities, all the cities, and all the town councils. So there is streamlining of the way waste is handled, who handles it, and how they handle it. Thank you.
Okay, beautiful.
Sorry, just to add a layer,
Yes, please.
to that. I think you asked a question in terms of if the waste does not come, So that's a very important question. I think we'll dive into it further within the financial structure. However, just to cover it briefly, so we as a company that deals with waste to energy, the first contract that we need, is a waste guarantee. That waste guarantee is important because understanding the context of Africa is that, most municipalities do not have money to fund such a project. Just to give the audience an understanding of something like this facility, it's a minimum of 500 million euros. So we as a company, we invest a minimum just to have skin in the game, so that, with the other investors that we are working with throughout the world can come in. However, for them to come in, they need to make sure that, for example, if we have a concession of 20 to 25 years, meaning that this structure of the project has got an equity of maybe 30% and senior debt of 70%. So to repay these monies that are coming from the investors will take about 20 to 25 years. So the waste agreement, if you are saying you are going to produce or deliver 1,500 tons of waste every day, if you don't deliver that 1,500 tons, there's a term called put or pay. That's a contract. It means that the money that is supposed to be generated by that is now a deficit. It will have to come from somewhere, whether it's the project owner or the municipality. So that's very important, and this goes hand in hand with the power purchase agreement, which is why now we are at a phase of pre-engineering, which my colleague has touched on it, to go and see the character of the waste, to assess the moisture, because the moisture will determine the calorific value. The calorific value, in simple terms, I mean, we are Africans, when you are burning something and it's wet, it doesn't have a good flame. So if it doesn't have a good flame, it means it's not operating at the optimum level, So that will determine how much electricity will be produced. So upon that stage of pre-engineering, we can actually assess the character of the waste to see if the waste will be sufficient to produce power at optimum level, so that even the financiers now, we take that pre-engineering, we give it to the investors, then the investors look at it if it's financeable or not. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Hanifa, please.
Is the emphasis on segregation at source. Because once we have the government supporting the segregation at source, it makes everything easy, because we are saying that we want to be working on project or waste that is not recyclable. For example, we are saying plastics can go to the recyclers, and then the rest that is supposed to have come to landfill come to the plant. So the segregation at source is a critical component into the project. Of course, we know there's a lot of open burning in the country for most of the waste. The bigger population does open burning in their backyards. So if we have a policy that is against such practices, because those are detrimental to the environment, then that increases on the amount of waste that can be collected, and hence the amount of waste that can be managed at the facility. However, because I've been on this project from the onset, I know that we have a lot of unsegregated waste, and that is the first waste we are looking at. We don't want to go again to piles and begin, but we can begin with burning that and getting electricity out of it, as the policies that are encouraging the segregation at source take place.
Okay, thank you. I see the conversation is taking shape from now. If I'm to break it down for a layman like me, maybe Nizamo, you let me help me again see if my thought process is right. We need the waste to come, and when the waste comes, we produce the power. When we produce the power, we sell it. We make the money, and that money goes from person putting in the money. We talked about the equity debt ratio, and but without waste coming, then we have no power. But someone is going to pay the difference. If we don't have that 1,500 tons of waste here, it will either be the project owner, NLS, or the municipality, like you mentioned, which in this case I would presume the government of Uganda.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. But just to emphasize as well, there's something called the gate fee. I don't know if you have it here in Uganda. However, the revenue component, it comes from the gate fee and from selling of the electricity. There are other spin-offs like, from the ash, you are able to make bricks, you are able to make tar, but that's more on a minimum level. But the main drivers of how you are able to pay for waste to energy plants is from gate fee, the tipping fee, and selling of the electricity. That is why the tariff is important, at which we are selling the electricity. There has to be a PPA, which is the off-taker of this power, which is, maybe it can be a private company, it can be the municipality, and also these plants, they produce steam for industry. That is why the positioning is very important, to position it in an industrial area, so that you are able to maximize or diversify the profit sharing of these plants. Thank you.
Wow, absolutely. Yeah, we are getting to see how that works out. And maybe before we have a few questions, because like I said, we have limited time, but before I put out the next inquiry from my end, just to inform, if you're here and you are a Muslim, we have a prayer point that we set out for you just at the entrance. So feel free at any one time you need to have a prayer, just right at the corner next to the entrance. We have a prayer point for you right there. Thank you. And then once again, for those of you joined us a bit later, our place of convenience are right behind the tent, and we also have an ambulance on standby, like Ms. Didan mentioned. So now that we've seen the model, the waste comes in 1,500 tons, we burn it, we produce the power, we sell the power, and then get the money with the tariff, people pay it off. Now, just in a simple way. Let's get to the end. And I don't know who will answer this question. How do we then, because we are in an industrial hub here in Namibia, how then do we convince the industrialists and the people in here to buy our thermal energy, so that we are guaranteed? If we guarantee, I'm assuming the policy will help us guarantee the 1,500 tons coming in to this place. Now, the selling. Who is going to help us with that? How do we then encourage our neighboring factories to take up our thermal power that will be produced in this place?
I think the next panel will be better placed to answer that, but already there's an assessment going on what kinds of industries, and that is why, like my colleague has said, the siting of the facility considered that so much. Otherwise, would have gone so far. But because there is an intention to sell out the steam, That is why the location had to be close to the industry area. Of course, the assessment is still going on what kind of facilities are around and whether they will need this. So that is ongoing, but it's also looking at a plan for the park. And so far there is a possibility of that because that reduces on the energy losses if we are able to do that. Because as you know, after running the steam turbine, the steam is very, very beneficial. And instead of another company incurring the cost of generating steam, having a boiler, water, it's better for them to do the heat exchange from the steam. So that is something we're still, okay, NLS is still selling to the industries. I don't think we have the right answer yet, but there is potential for them to take on the steam, and the assessments in terms of impact assessment will also look at potential routes for the pipes going into the industries, and then ways of ensuring that we maintain the pressures and the heat so that it's effective on the other end.
Okay, thank you. Maybe before Sir comes in, I'll invite Ms. Dylan
Thank you.
just to say something.
Something very small. I'd like to call upon, because our guest of honor is here, I'd like to call to please go to the main. She's there. Mr. Norbert Adigaba, I think is already okay. I'd like to call Festo Lubwama to please also be on standby at the entrance, and Engineer Caleb to also be standby at the entrance, because we are about to welcome our guest, that is the Minister of State for Energy, who is going to be joining us in the next few seconds. Apologies for that, but I might have to also cut you again, but continue.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Dylan. All right, over to you, Sir Daudi.
Yeah, of course, to add on what Hajat has just said, if you look around, most of the factories, the industrial developments, they really need heat at one point. One of the first industries establishment is Kenchik. Kenchik needs heat in its chick production. So these are some of the areas that could utilize this heat. Of course, once the infrastructure for heat is there, then in the long run, the cost is pretty small. So what I think NLS is going to do is to do a very detailed study, find out which factories, which industries are around, and what amount and quantities of heat they use in their processes, and then that could be given at discounted rates for starters as an incentive. And of course, yes, if you look at heat per se in Uganda, yes, most of the time we have heat, natural heat. So people say heat may not be necessary, but there are processes that need controlled heat within the factories. So this can be taken and used.
Okay, thank you. Seems quite a big project because we are creating jobs for the citizens. And just to follow up on that, Samzam, we talked about ash. Was it you or Hanifa? And would like to know, I know we would like to know about the ash and the zero waste approach, and how does it align to Uganda's green growth strategy? Anyone could take it up. I don't know if it would be Professor or yes.
Look, I mean, we are living in a circular economy era whereby we don't want to waste anything, you know. So with the ash, you are able to create bricks. I mean, we've got a project in Norway whereby they are creating bricks. With the ash, you can even create tar, you know. So, I mean, every country now, the vision is to utilize everything, you know. But just to touch again on the previous point, you know, so that the audience understands, you know. So when you speak about waste to energy, you are speaking about baseload energy. So baseload energy is energy that keeps on running. It's not dependent on the sun, it's not dependent on wind, you know. So industries, they want certainty. So if we are producing baseload energy or baseload steam, they know that they are guaranteed 365 days, that without fail, whether the weather is not good or bad, hence now the waste needs to be delivered all the time. Thank you.
Okay, powerful. Yes, Hanifa, you have a point?
Yeah, I can add on to the ash aspect. Yes, we are transitioning into say valorization um, triggered strategies, yeah, and the ash, which is also a problem because someone will say if you're heating the waste, you have ash. What are you going to do with it? That the plan is to make bricks, but through stabilization, because we know that uh, currently the waste we have as considered most hazardous is from oil and gas, the cuttings, and the method used is stabilization and landfill. Yeah, but with this kind of waste and with the temperatures that we're talking about, we expect that most of the toxic components will be neutralized. So the ash is going to be further to be further neutralized by stabilization, because that then bonds the potential contaminants. Like when you add cement to soil or something and it hardens, it has bonded the contaminants. So if you shape it into a brick and reuse it within the facility, then you are contributing to the circular economy aspect. So that's the plan.
Okay, so what I hear you say, nothing is going to be wasted here. Even the ash, and by that I'm assuming ash from metals, right?
It's coming from the burning of the waste.
Oh yes, we are going to use it to make the bricks, and that is also more employment to the people.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, and
And it
also
has to
more
be machines because you want to
standardization.
minimize impact as much as possible, direct handling. But yes, it will employ some people as well.
Beautiful, and revenue.
Yes.
Okay, yes, sir. Then we go to the last round.
Of course, to add on, the kind of waste that is coming in, it's unsegregated. So when it reaches, we will have to segregate. So there are things like plastics, like some metals, and the rest of that would be sold out, that would go into other users, like like scrap, yeah. So these will be sales at the end of the day. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe one other important aspect I know I've seen a few environmentalists that they may be interested in is on air quality. I think the next thing will speak more on the air quality, but the way the design of the plant is to ensure that there is minimal emission as much as possible. There is a pre-treatment for the air that comes from the burners. So we expect there is, I don't want to say no, but minimal, as much as practically possible, emissions from this operation.
Of course, Haja, to add on, there will be continuous and rigorous monitoring to make sure that whatever emissions come out, whatever comes out is seen in advance to identify and also come up with solutions that have already been to sort that kind of challenge.
Yeah, just to add on to my colleagues, so our technology is compliant with the BREC 2020. Maybe the audience might ask themselves, the plant is, I mean, we've got a plant right next to the Eiffel Tower in Paris. You can't smell it, So even the emissions, they are compliant, We make sure there's flue gas treatment as well within the plant. So the safety is optimal. Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. Now, as we get to close the panel for today, the final question I will have, and feel free, any panelists who could come in, is that methane from the landfills is a potent greenhouse gas. So I'd like to ask the panelists to explain to us, or to just let us know, the team that is listening in and right here, how destroying this method by controlled combustion makes this project one of the most strategic or important decisions, individual climate action decision in the country. And we'll make it first, and then we shall close the panel.
Thank you. Methane is emitted from biodegradable, say, waste. For example, the landfill, Chitezi landfill, and possibly why there was even a sort of burning is concentration of gases. And we know that it is the biggest composition in the greenhouse gas emissions. So if we have controlled burning, we're now eliminating the exposure of any such gas on the environment. And besides that, because it comes from microorganisms acting onto the waste, when we burn it, we only have flue gas emissions, nitrogen oxide. So we don't have the very strong, I don't want to say we don't have very strong greenhouse gases because we have carbon dioxide on the other end, but it is not as dangerous as methane, and there are measures to capture the carbon in the design of the project. So that is what makes it the more preferable option as compared to the open dumping. However, additionally, this project, if you look at it critically, it is a combined energy system project. It has a component of biogas. So where we have, because we know that 80% of the waste generated is wet, and if the pre-treatment, which is drying, is not sufficient for some of the waste, there are going to be biodigesters where gas is generated, and this gas can also run a gas turbine, connect also to the grid, or even have gas as also an energy source. So that is what this project comes with as a very special and critical aspect in energy and waste.
Okay, powerful. Let's thank you. Hanifa, yes, Sir Daudi, on that point.
Of course, like Hajat said, methane is more hazard as compared to carbon dioxide, which can actually be trapped. Now, if you're looking at the landfills, we don't have any way to control the methane. But when you come to efforts like what NLS is proposing, then you are eliminating methane. You will only have carbon dioxide, which you can actually trap and containerize. Of course, this in itself could go into the climate change actions, whereby we can even trade off this methane methane reducing act into money from the carbon trading and methane facilities.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Yes, Mr. Zambo, anything to say on that?
Yeah, I think my colleagues have scientifically covered, but from a layman perspective, since we've got government officials here, you know, just to allude to the danger of methane. Methane can cause illness to residents that are living around the landfill, and also it can even contaminate the groundwater that people are drinking. So it ends up affecting health, which will now affect the health department, you know. So such a solution as a waste to energy, which has, you know, technology of carbon capture, is more of a solution better than a landfilling. Thank you.
Wow, absolutely. Very powerful discussion. We have quite a number of people who will be coming up to now tell us about the state of the art that is coming in here and also the financing. And so as we close this, any parting shots? I'll start with you, Mr. Mzamo, then end with Hanifa. Over to you. Any parting shots? to the members watching online. We have the media houses. I see Next Media in here covering us. Any parting shots on this?
I'm covered. Maybe the audience might have some questions. We are willing to take them. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sure the audience has a lot of experience that they had in Uganda. They have seen their myths, and hopefully in this, I can call this a stakeholder engagement. Their ideas, their views, their challenges and anticipation would actually help to build in this. So I think it would be nice to get something from them.
All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And that is a panel discussing about the environmental impact of the power plant that is coming in here to be set out at Namanga. So I'll ask Ms. Didan if anyone would like to have like one or two inquiries before we have a short break and to invite the next panel. Any questions that we may be having? I know to the layman, I'm representing the layman on stage. Not highly technical, and I also have my own, what I have understood from my own end. But Didan, in case you have any questions, any hands up, please. You can move the microphone. We have one or two inquiries, and then close the discussion, the first panel discussion. Any questions? Any inquiries? Any comments? All right, we have a gentleman right in there.
Thank you very much, Stefano, and NLS that has hosted us here. My name is Bola Malan. I come from Chira. I'm the mayor-elect for Chira Municipality. I have two questions. The first one goes to Innova. You raised something very, very, very serious about the contamination of water by methane that comes from the different heaps of garbage. In a country like ours, where most people do not even know the source of their water, what is NLS and the policymakers? What are they planning in this grand scheme to protect the different water sources that are supplying our people? And then number two, the issue of waste segregation. I've been in community leadership for over 10 years, and I lead the cleanest community in Chira Municipality. It took us almost 7 years to try and teach people the little basics of segregating waste, and I can tell you that up to now, we are still fighting. How has waste segregation, what is the role of waste segregation in this whole scheme of generating power? Does it play a big role? Does it make it easy, or does it matter? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Two questions on the plan for the water and then waste segregation. Any last ones that we can capture that and we answer those at once? Yes, here. I think we should, for matters of purposes of time, once we get that, you will answer the questions and we'll close the panel discussion for the first panel discussion. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. My name is Nandugwa Brenda from Yola Kasasiro. From Yola Kasasiro Limited, and also from Zero Waste Managers and from Union of Private Waste Collectors. My first question goes to Madam Hanifa. You said that the plant is going to start with waste that is not separated. Is it going to Chitezi or Buyala, or which waste are we talking about now? I personally, I do teaching people waste segregation, and as a waste collector, I've actually achieved that for over a year. I collect organic waste and inorganic waste, So I don't know how long will that project be sustainable if we start with the non-separated waste. And if it's segregated, will Mr. Mzambo have enough waste for his project? And so my second question, Mzambo, you say Dubai, you burn 2 million, is it 2 million waste? No wonder Dubai is clean. Here we produce tons of waste. And we have recyclers, we have people who make compost. So if you need this waste, does it mean that all these indigenous factories like recyclers and what will have to stop? Because that is a lot of waste that you need. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll hand to the panelists. Let's start with Zam.
Okay, thank you. Regarding the contaminated water, I think it's more of a statement, you know, and remember, colleagues, such a project needs a buy-in from national, provincial, local, district. Everyone needs to play a role, because at the end of the day, you know, if we are taking waste and we are burying it for the future generations. You know, what will they inherit? What kind of water? So it's a behavioral thing that we have to. It's like even segregation at source. You know, yes, it's delayed gratification. It takes time, but it has to start. We have to instill it in our society so that we are able to prevent it. You know, but I think from developing such projects that is inhibiting such actions, you know, for the future, you know. And then just to answer you, my sister, look, we work with recycling, you know, we complement each other. We are saying the recyclers must take all the valuable, you know, parts, you know, the materials, the recovery facility must take everything that is valuable. Yeah? So that is complementing. So whatever is meant for landfilling that cannot be used anymore, you know, then you bring that so that we can burn it and turn that into electricity and use the ash as well to build, you know, spin-offs like and
Maybe I want to answer the second question, that's about segregation from Mayor Brown. Segregation, you said you've taught people for more than 7 years. I think it's a very big challenge nationwide. That actually, in one of the consultative meetings that we were with a cabinet minister, NLS was suggesting that while we want to look at immediate solutions, there are things that we need to do that will go over time. For instance, can we inculcate in the curriculum, starting from nursery, whereby children are taught how to segregate waste, that probably in the next 20 years, people will have known how to segregate. Of course, Ugandans, there's a way we have taken things. Some of them, we look at them from a political angle, yet they are actually things that we need to do. When you tell people segregate waste, they may think they would want you actually to pay them to do that. Yet actually it is going to benefit all of us. The users, the generators, and probably the people who are collecting. I think one thing that we need to do as a country, and starting from here, because there are key stakeholders here in the policy making and running of the country. Can we go start letting people know that when you segregate waste, probably it is easier to take? And of course we are going technology. There is no way we can say we will not use technology to do things. probably in the very near years, we introduce bins that probably have sensors. Like you say, you have a waste bin of this kind of garbage, and when it is full, then the sensor triggers the collector, and the people come in. Of course, this might be very expensive and ambiguous, but it's the direction that we are going in. It's all about us thinking positive and looking at things as possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And finally, any final shots on the questions?
Thank you, David and Tim. I think the questions have been well answered. Yes, the aspect of waste. I said this because we know that we have a waste segregation challenge. That's why I said you start with what you have. Because the incinerators have the capacity to burn anything with the level of degree of heat temperatures that we're talking about. However, to be part of the circular economy transition, we have to allow for the recycling arm to also operate. That is why there is emphasis on the waste segregation. Not that the technology cannot handle all, but because to be part of the transition to circular economy, we have to allow for the recycle, reuse, recovery aspects to also play. Yeah, that is why. You asked a very important question. Will the quantities be sufficient? There was a feasibility study that was undertaken, and from that feasibility, that's why the investment decision was taken. So it means that the feasibility found that it is possible to proceed. Otherwise, we would not be here. So that is what I can say to answer that, and maybe the next panels will also highlight on some of these. But the investment decision is based on feasibility findings. How much do we need on a minimum for it to make commercial sense? Those studies have been undertaken, and for the decision to have been finally been made, it means that it is commercially viable, if I'm to answer that. David mentioned a very important aspect of technology, and that is where we're going. We all know AI is taking over, and we have a lot of technology in waste management. We have bins that says labels, that it's full. We have color codes. I'm managing a waste management project in Tilenga, and waste segregation is still a challenge, even at that level. But I must say there's great improvement. And what is helping is the color codes. The bins are color coded and labeled appropriately. You know that if I find a white bin, I only must put plastic. If I find this color, I only must put this kind of waste. So if that is instilled into the people, and most importantly from a young age, it would be a very good thing for the future of this country. We've been involved in several sensitizations in schools in Bulisa area, and we see that there is great improvement in terms of people understanding that I must handle this waste in a given way. So it is work in progress, and it's something that government has to strongly come in to support, and we hope that that policy can as well enforce such practices.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to our panelists. A round of applause. And that has been Hanifa, our Environmental Social Impact Assessment Specialist, and Sir Daudi, the board member in charge of environmental. And then we have Zamo from Canadevia Innova. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as they take their seats. Thank you so much. You've set the ball rolling, you've set the foundation to the entire project that we are doing here. And if I went back home and my 8-year-old daughter asked me, but Daddy, what are we doing there? To the lay person, this is one of the most, a very fundamental strategic project that is being done in our country, Uganda, collecting all what I would say the useless waste. In fact, if I summarize, I would say people go and get waste. We need waste No, but they did an assessment, and the waste that we have in currently in our country can be able to run this project. We need the waste, and the simple model is the waste comes in, it's burnt, it is sold as energy. We make some money, and it's distributed to the different stakeholders, including our country, and thereby becoming beneficial in our economy, but also addressing issues like employment and, most importantly, the waste management issue. I remain yours truly, Joseph from Tonize, aka Sir Jose. Enjoy the break.
Now, for those of you who have just walked in, first of all, thank you, Sir Longo. Thank you very much for that session. We'll be getting into the next session as we also welcome our guest of honor. However, as we wait for him, some of you could have missed out on the video that we played earlier. So on our screens, we're going to be playing what NLS is all about as we welcome our guest of honor in a few seconds. And also, as a reminder, behind our stage, we do have our restrooms. And of course, to the left of the stage, we also do have our prayer space for our Muslim brothers and sisters. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest here, the Minister of State for Energy, of course representing the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, and he is also representing the President of the Republic of Uganda. So in a few seconds, I'll be asking all of us to please stand up and just according that respect. For now, let's be seated as he says he's welcomed in by our board chairman of NLS. Of course, our CEO, Lydia is there with Norbert Abigaba. We also have Mr. Festo Luwama, and of course our engineer Caleb, all welcoming him in. He'll be brought in a few seconds, and I'll be giving you the cue on how we can welcome him. Some music in the background would be nice. And as I said earlier on in the morning, this whole location is going to be where our NLS waste power plant is going to be located. Groundbreaking happening immediately after this. And so we really take this time to say a big thank you to all of you, members of community, the private sector leaders, the government officials who are already here. Thank you so much for coming through to take time. And as we break ground with all of you. Just as a reminder, our Muslim brothers and sisters, we have a prayer tent for you. On to the left of our stage, we have the restrooms to the back of our stage. We'll be getting into the second panel, which is going to be one of the short panels in a few minutes.
Yeah, our plant is waste to energy. It starts with the municipal waste, and the end product is power. But along the process, we have an use to process food products that we shall evaluate to other companies. So we start where we put our waste, and then it's burned through the process, generates steam through the turbines, and then we evacuate that power to a substation, which we can sell to the national grid. But along with, like I said, we have other byproducts that generate steam to sell to the other people in terms of production industries. Yeah. You're welcome. Yes, incineration.
Plant that is going to do the pre-sorting and everything to take out the dry waste. Then we have excess heat, which we are planning at design level to send back and dry some of the waste, so we can get a better calorific value, so we can have better electricity sold to the grid. So we're going to have to do a pre-treatment as soon as it comes in, irrigation, pre-treatment, and then for incineration, and then so we have a flue gas treatment during the process, the biological process, the incineration, and then we also have ash, which ash can be used to make building bricks and then road construction materials. It can be scaled, but currently we are going to do 2 lines because we are asking government for all their waste. We don't want them to get stuck once we are doing the maintenance. So we're beginning with the 2 lines that once we're doing the maintenance and one line is closed, we can have the other line running so that people are not stuck with waste in their homes, because maintenance is between 4, have 2 lines in the beginning. It's European technology. When we were starting in the beginning, we looked for the best technology and a country that had dealt with all their waste in the country, and we noticed that Sweden had actually run out of waste because of their different plans. So what we did, we benchmarked through Germany and Sweden with our Swedish and Finnish consultants, we decided to go for European technology because it is tried and tested. It has actually run out of waste. Right now, they are currently importing waste from Europe into Sweden.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, my honorable guests, let's please be upstanding as we do welcome our honorable Minister Opolot Okosai, the Minister of State for Energy, who is also here on behalf of the President of the Republic of Uganda. Let's make some round of applause. Kidogo, makofi kidogo. Thank you very much. You may have a seat. I'd like to call Joseph Sir to please come back as we continue with our program before we get into our lunch setup. So we're going to get straight into, we're going to continue with the segment is going to be very short and sweet, and then we shall call upon our CEO, Lydia Saigon, to please come and give us a few remarks before we step into lunch. So you're hungry. I know the breakfast was heavy, but I really do hope you're also hungry because the food is absolutely ready. I hope you've eaten something. Meanwhile, I've been listening to our panelists talking, sir.
Yes, Nina.
And I'm very shocked because growing waste was not wanted. Now I'm hearing we need your waste. I'm also hearing from our CEO that there's certain countries like Switzerland who are importing waste. Who knew garbage could be imported?
You know,
I am getting shocked by every single moment. Every time I listen to our guest speaking, I get absolutely shocked. However, I'm here to learn, and we're here to save our environment. That's something I love. And of course, with this new power plant, I do expect there's going to be a lot of employment because we complain there's no employment.
Absolutely.
So imagine being paid to protect the environment. I absolutely love it. Take over.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ms. Lidan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, turn to your neighbor and tell them waste is important. I'm very serious. Turn to your neighbor and tell them waste is important. Hey, very important, because without that waste, this project is not going to be there. Absolutely. And a question was asked that in fact we don't even think we have enough waste. So for those of you who are just joining us, thank you so much for joining us to this powerful NLS waste power plant launch right here at Namanze. And all protocols observed once again. Our ministers, we have the Minister, Mr. Opolot Okosai. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to the Minister. Thank you so much for coming. And we have not left you. You have found us at the right point, sir. My name is Joseph Rautomize, also known as Sir Jose. I'm called Sir because I'm a Salongo. And now, allow me to invite the next panel that is going to discuss briefly, like Ms. Didan mentioned, just briefly in a few minutes, about the financing of this project. Now, we've understood the project, the environmental impact to the project. We've gotten a grip. I know many of us here are technically sound, so you may have already had the idea and you know what's happening. But we have also members who are listening in and that may not know what's happening here and why the project. Why are we even struggling to put up this project in the country? Is it important? Is it strategic? Tell us about the NLS Waste Power Plant project. That's why we are here. It's about the financing. And allow me invite once again I'll invite 3 people. Let me start with our CEO, Lydia Naiga, to come and join the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Lydia, a round of applause as Lydia comes in. Yes, thank you so much. And then once again, we shall be rejoined by Nzao Njoli, all the way from Canadevia Innova. Once again, our EPC contractors. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to Nzao Nzamo. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite Giuseppe Mosico to come and join us on stage. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Giuseppe. Thank you so much for coming. Now, for just make sure that we bring us up to speed, and most especially those who are not here at the beginning. I know Mzao, you've been with us on the first panel, but I mean, we have people joining us, and would like to still know, just to put into context who is speaking to us and why are they important in discussing the topic of financing. Allow me to start with you, and then we shall go to Mr. Giuseppe, and then finally to Okay, thank you so much. Just a short break. I'll invite Ms. Didan just to give us a housekeeping for this moment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. My apologies for that. I'd like to organize my media team. Please get ready for this. We do have our honorable guest who's just joined us, and of course, as I said, Honorable Opolot Okosai, who's the Minister of State for Energy right here in Uganda, and is also representing our President of the Republic of Uganda. So I kindly request that we also do stand up so that we can have our national anthem.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tulinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you very much for that. You may all be seated. And one more time, I would like to take this moment to, first of all, say a very big thank you to our Honorable Minister Opolot Okosai. Thank you so much. We know you're a busy man and time is very important to you. So thank you for making time to join us here today. And to all the government officials who are here, we thank you also. We would also like to pass our, of course, the stakeholders of this community. Mr. George, sir, you can take over from me now.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Didan, for the housekeeping. Thank you, and once again, you're very welcome. Now, just a point of correction, the panel is going to discuss the technological part of the project, that is technology, social contract, and implementation, just for those of us coming up to speed. And for those of you who are just joining us, my simple take from the first panel once again is that waste is important, and how we manage it extremely important. And this project that we are launching today is going to be collecting all the waste that should be coming to the landfills. The waste will be burnt, and now I'm not going to use any technical terms whatsoever. The waste is going to be burnt, and then we are going to produce energy, that is electricity from the waste, and that electricity will be sold to factories and to the citizens in the country through the grid. In really simple terms, just in case you want to catch up and you are a layman like me. And so before us, In the first panel, we discussed about the environmental impact of the project. Right now, I want to talk about the technology. But just to get to know the people speaking before us, we'll just have a few minutes to speak about that, and we shall have once again a break before we conclude later on with the third panel. Mr. Nzamo, you are on the first panel. Kindly introduce yourself, let's know who you are, and then we shall move on swiftly. Thank you.
Greetings, colleagues. Greetings to the Honorable Minister. My name is Nzamo Njoli. I'm from a company called Canadidia Innova, which is for the waste to energy project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Nzamo. And I shall move swiftly to Mr. Giuseppe Musiko. I hope I have that name pronounced right. Forgive me if I'm not.
Very good. Thank you very much. Morning to everybody. I would like first to thank NLS and Ms. Lydia and Your Excellency for being here. Thank you very much. My name is Giuseppe Musico. I'm representing a company called Emirates Waste to Energy from the United Arab Emirates, which is a company that is a developer and invests in waste to energy projects. That's why we are here. We are here to support and to give our experience and expertise in waste to energy projects as much as we can. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. If I got it right, you said Emirates Waste Energy.
Waste to energy. Emirates Waste to Energy.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And over to your CEO, Lydia.
My name is Lydia Nega Saison, currently working with NLS Waste Services for the past 17 years. We've been dealing in medical waste around Kampala mainly, because that is where medical waste is regulated. 5 years ago, I took a leap of faith. There are two things, I call it a revenge project, but here we are, and realized there was a problem with waste management in the country, and decided to help and give a solution for management of solid waste in the country. That's why we are here, to introduce NLS Waste Power Plant.
Wow, a round of applause to great thinkers in the country. Thank you so much. I will not move in circles. I'll go straight to my first question. I've heard about the great firing system. Now, I don't know what it is. I know the people on... I get to understand that Kampala's waste is unique. It is high in organics and moisture. So my question is, why is the great firing system, and by great we mean GRATE, the great firing system, the only proven technology globally that will help us to handle our unique, I hope it is unique, but our unique waste in the country? And if it is unique, how unique? I don't know where the question will go. Maybe I will handle it to, is it Mr. Giuseppe? Or, yes, over to you, sir. The great firing system.
Yeah, okay, so if you look at the great firing technology is in the market since decades now. If you look at the curve of the maturity of this technology with the time, is the most mature for the purpose of recovering it from so diversified kind of waste. There are other technologies that have been utilized around the world, like pyrolysis or gasification, but great firing have demonstrated to be, let's say, for big volume and such a diversified characterization of waste, the most reliable one and capable to recover the energy in this diversified waste. So the technology exists since decades. We are not talking here, we are talking about the waste to energy project here in Uganda, which is going to be the first one, but it's not at all the first one in the world. We are talking about 1,500 waste to energy projects in China. We're talking about more than 500 waste to energy projects in Europe. We are talking about more than 300 projects in US. So the technology exists since decades. is not something new. To me, the most challenging, let's say, peculiarities of these kind of projects are putting together all the stakeholders and understanding that these stakeholders need to collaborate. That's the real word, needs to collaborate to make this project feasible. Technology exists, is there, is capable to produce electricity and to divert waste that otherwise would go to landfill, which is not the proper way to treat the waste.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Giuseppe. You'd like to add on, Mr. Muzamo? That is it?
Yeah, well, just to add on to my colleague, so the advantages of a great boiler, it's the most common, as he said, it's simple, unfailing, robust, no need for pre-treatment, more hygienic, the metal utilization from